Namaskar. Welcome to Honest Astrologer YouTube channel, and today I'm going to talk about Shani in the 12th house. Now, this is a very typical and very elusive placement. It's very difficult to define and put your finger on what it is going to do. Because 12th is the most mystical and most mysterious of all houses, and it is one which has not been clearly understood by most astrologers up to and including yours truly. I personally find it toughest to decipher the planet sitting in the 12th house. And there is one thing that an astrologer hates more than anything, and that is unpredictable. At a mundane level, 12th house has been related to expenses, hospitals, jail, intoxication, sleep, death, and in some cases, sex, particularly deep sleep and the point where you lose yourself. Okay, so this is a place where you lose yourself. While in popular opinion, people consider 8th as the toughest house, I haven't seen planets in 8th give such bad results, barring Moon, Rahu, and Shani. But planet in 12th, I have almost always seen difficult results for everything, barring Jupiter and Ketu. And again, the blessings of Jupiter and Ketu are more on the spiritual side. At a material side, almost every planet is very difficult in the 12th house. In 8th house, the planets sitting in 8th house are sort of reborn. They rise like a phoenix. Once they are destroyed, they rise again. Planet sitting in the 12th is finally dissolved. There is no coming back from the 12th house. It is the house of ultimate loss of control. And Shani, the obsessive planet of control, hates to be there for obvious reasons. So while Shani is a tough guy, he can hold his own on tough houses like the 10th or the 6th, and it does wonders in 11th and 2nd. 12th is where it is very difficult for him. It's a watery place and it makes him feel out of the comfort zone. It's vague, mysterious, and sublime. All things Shani is not comfortable with. 6th brings order. Shani is very happy. Although there are enemies to deal with, Shani is very happy in the 6th house. It is the house of order and discipline. 12th is the house of chaos and loss of control. So thus this placement can be tough, but just like all Shani placements, the gains can be fantastic and sublime. The lessons of this house will last not just for one life but several lifetimes. For some reason, this is a rare placement, and I have not seen this in many charts. Maybe one has to be a very evolved soul to handle this energy. So, but I have seen these people suffer. Shani is haunted by a vague sense of not belonging where he is, and the native wants to lose himself. Shani's ability to do something concrete and objective is challenged in this house. And he has to do something which he doesn't want to do. He has to let go. So such natives are brought to a point where they think they don't have control over their life and they feel very helpless and they try to escape. Now, escape can happen often in shape of intoxicants and addictions. So Shani in the 12th, I have seen this is a regular placement in charts of alcoholics and people with a drug addiction, particularly if Sun is involved. Sun Shani in the 12th house, I have seen a lot of drug addicts and alcoholics. And if the rest of the chart is not supportive, they don't have much of a career and they often struggle to make ends meet. This is particularly difficult for male natives. Okay. I have learned one thing. Shani is harsher on the male natives and Rahu is harsher on the female natives. The reasons, I don't know. I'm still researching them. But this pattern I've seen, a tough Shani in a female's chart is not all that bad. A tough Rahu in a man's chart is not all that bad. But a tough Shani in a man's chart can be crushing. A tough Rahu in a woman's chart can be devastating. Anyways, let's come back to Shani in the 12th. One of the key reasons for these people is the loss of control. They are not very disciplined. Okay. Shani in the 6th is very disciplined. He loves routine. Shani in the 12th is totally lost. One thing which I tell them is to never drink and drive, because these people are susceptible to crashing, car accidents, and subsequent legal problems. Half the battle is won if they put some sort of discipline around their addictions. For example, not drinking during the day or not taking beyond a regular quota of alcohol, saying absolutely no to all the hard drugs, and most of all, never drink and drive. On the other end, they can try to do a typical Shani thing. I'm in control, I'm the best, and I can do all that. Doesn't work for a long time. So, they might put up a brave front in front of the world, but they are not able to control it. Okay. So, what should a person with this 12th house Shani do? My personal advice is they should serve the humanity and all sentient beings. Shani in the 12th has to work without seeking the reward. He has to serve the whole in order to become part of the collective. I know it sounds vague and mysterious, but this is what Shani in 12th house is. I had a tough time writing all this. One frequent occurrence which I have seen is if the chart is damaged, I have seen an absentee or a weak father. Maybe Shani's 10th aspect on the house of the father does the damage. And like I said, men find it difficult. Okay. I did my research on intoxication and astrology with my great friends Tushar and Vishal, and there were absolutely mind-blowing patterns. So Tushar has been working for years on issues of addiction, and this big factor came in that almost all the men who had drug addiction issues had an absentee or a weak father. That is why I am so afraid of this pseudo-feminism where fathers are blamed for so-called patriarchy. There have been researches on homeless people, and almost all of them said that they never find a homeless man who had a good relationship with his father. So fathers are important no matter how much we criticize them. So this placement is harder on men as they are typically expected to be career makers and breadwinners. Now their lack of discipline and ability to hold on to a regular job is a problem. They are taunted by the family and disgraced by the society. And this further pushes them into alcoholism and drug addiction. Women have it comparatively better. While they do have daddy issues, they at least do not have the problem of trying to earn for the family. Most of these women I know, they don't have careers. They are happy being housewives or by taking care of the house. And it's okay. It's absolutely okay. But as per norms of the society, a man has to work. But yes, these women again have a tough time with their relationships with men because they typically have a tough relationship with the father. So there is a vague nervousness and confusion that haunts these natives. Shani's habit of digging out something concrete out of the house where he sits is challenged in this house, and one thing he digs out is addiction and at times sexual experimentation. So yes, you have to lose yourself, but it is preferable to lose oneself in a good way. Okay. Frequent periods of isolation and meditation would be great. I have seen a few sannyasis with this placement. And a hermit's life suits them. They can actually be sitting alone in the mountains meditating. So Shani in the 12th can also become a sadhak. Okay. Instead of drugs, they can get into spirituality and bigger things. Dissolution of ego is a must if they want to be in peace. If these guys try to prove themselves in a Shani Surya fashion, they are doomed. So, they try very hard to show that they are the masters of their destiny, but ultimately they'll end up crashing. So they need to lose that false ego, that pretense of being in control. Okay, they need to lose that Shani desire of being in control. This is not the house which is fit for the overachiever, compulsive, workaholic Shani. No. Here Shani has to come in his humbler avatar, the server Shani. I'm not saying servant Shani. Servant is the word which has a slavish meaning to it. I'm saying the server Shani, the one who serves without seeking a return, without being a slave. Okay. Now, the muck of addiction, illusion, and dissatisfaction can actually be washed away by the pure waters of service to other people. Such natives have a beautiful, endearing quality, which very, very few people appreciate. Okay, and they suddenly turn into that Superman good Samaritan whenever they see somebody in an emergency. Okay, they will turn into the Superman in case of things like death or hospitalization or some calamity falling upon the family. These are the guys who suddenly jump in to help the affected. Okay. Now, you might know somebody who's unemployed, doesn't do much, but whenever there is a accident or a death, he is the first guy to report. He will take people to the hospital. He is going to arrange the last rites. He is going to take the bodies to the cemetery. Out of his pocket, he can help many times. They can even bring medicine and food for the sick. And they would do things with such dedication that even the blood relations are put to shame. They would give their 110% without expecting much. But you cannot expect these people to bring the same kind of zeal and passion to a regular job. That is not going to happen. Discipline is not their strong suit. They have these sudden bursts of trying to serve somebody. Now, I would like to bring to your notice a frequently seen but rarely appreciated character, which is the neighborhood drunk, but who is often a good Samaritan who has a heart of gold. Now, this is a guy who is not at all respected, just grudgingly tolerated. But whenever he is required at the time of a clash, fight, death, sickness, police case, this is the guy who is going to stand by the affected. While the other reputable people would visit the affected family on Sunday evening and they would say, hey, koi jarurat ho to hame jarur batayega. They will disappear, but this neighborhood drunk would actually walk the talk. He would be in the hospital on Monday morning with a bottle of milk and a bag of fruits, often at his own expense. And he would often be admired and profusely thanked, only to be discarded later, only to be, used and thrown. After all, he's a jobless bum, right? A man, his identity is just his job. That's how our society is. But remember, that jobless bum stood up for you when you needed him the most. He did come up with time, effort, and energy, and even money when required. Respect that. Okay. The world is menacingly cruel to these people, and these guys feel used and abused. And they are further sunken into distrust, depression, and intoxication. Okay. Even these people like to be appreciated and admired, and they try very hard. It breaks my heart to see what the world does to these people. But I would like to say one thing. While people might not keep a track of your good deeds, the universe does. And instead of seeking people's approval, you should take satisfaction in the peace that you have done a good job. So like I said, these guys are not cut out for 9 to 5, but they do very well wherever they have to take care of other people. I have seen in this placement in the chart of social workers, healthcare workers, nuns, caretakers, nurses, and this is the good side of Shani, which makes them serve other people selflessly. So eventually they do lose themselves, but this time in a good way for a good cause. And that is how the 12th house will bring them the path of wisdom, enlightenment, and fulfillment. So Shani, the Lord of Karma, perhaps appreciates the selfless karma done for others. Maybe Shani in the 12th has a potential of becoming more than a karma yogi. They can become a nishkam karma yogi. Jai Shani Dev.